It was exactly 12 a.m. In the coastal town of Greyhaven, Maine, USA, an abandoned lighthouse stood near the dark ocean, a place where nobody dared to go after sunset. The locals called it the Black Tide Lighthouse because 10 years ago, a mysterious murder happened there, and after that night, the lighthouse was closed forever. People believed that every new moon night, the desperate scream of a young woman could still be heard coming from inside. But tonight, someone was finally going to discover the truth. 27-year-old Sarah Miller was a crime and paranormal researcher who investigated abandoned places and unexplained mysteries. When she heard about the Black Tide Lighthouse, she decided to go there and record everything for her next investigation. Sarah packed her camera, flashlight, and equipment before driving alone through the empty road beside the ocean. The closer she got to the lighthouse, the stronger the waves became, and the cold wind created a terrifying atmosphere. Suddenly, her car headlights turned off by themselves. Sarah stopped the car and stepped outside. The entire area was covered in darkness. Then she heard a quiet voice behind her whisper, "You should not have come here." Sarah froze in fear and slowly turned around, but nobody was there. Suddenly, on the foggy glass of her car, a strange message appeared. "Run." Even though she was terrified, Sarah turned on her camera and started walking toward the lighthouse. The old iron gate was broken and moving slowly with the wind. As soon as she touched it, the gate opened by itself. The moment she entered, she felt like someone was watching her. Inside the lighthouse, the walls were covered with strange dark stains, and wet footprints were leading upstairs. Sarah recorded everything and whispered, "I am inside the Black Tide Lighthouse, and there is something here that has been hidden for years." Suddenly, a loud sound came from the upper floor. Sarah slowly climbed the wooden stairs. Every step made a terrifying cracking sound. When she reached the top, she found an old room with a locked door. The door was covered with deep scratches, as if someone had tried to escape from inside. Suddenly, a weak female voice came from behind the door. "Help me!" Sarah carefully opened the door, but the room was empty. In the middle of the room, there was only an old chair and a recording device. She pressed the play button, and a man's frightened voice started playing. "If someone is hearing this, it means I failed to reveal the truth." The recording explained that 10 years ago, a girl named Emily Rose was murdered inside the lighthouse. The police called it an accident, but the real killer was never found. While Sarah was listening, the room door suddenly slammed shut. She turned around and saw a girl standing inside the old mirror. Her face was pale and dark marks covered her neck. Sarah slowly whispered, "Are you Emily?" The girl inside the mirror raised her hand and pointed toward the wall. Sarah removed an old wooden panel and discovered a hidden room behind it. Inside were old documents, photographs, and a blood-stained piece of cloth. The pictures showed several powerful people from the town. Sarah realized that Emily's murder was not done by just one person. Suddenly, she heard footsteps approaching from behind. Someone was slowly walking toward the hidden room. Sarah turned off her flashlight and quietly hid. The door opened and a man wearing a mask entered. He was holding a knife in his hand. He looked around and said, "You found the secret that was supposed to stay buried forever." Sarah asked, "Who are you?" The masked man laughed and replied, "I was the last person who saw Emily alive." Sarah understood that he could be the murderer, but suddenly, all the lights in the lighthouse turned on, and Emily's spirit appeared behind the masked man. For the first time, the killer looked terrified. Emily pointed toward another hidden place on the wall. Sarah found an old video recorder there. When she played it, the footage clearly showed what happened on the night Emily was killed. But before the video ended, one face appeared on the screen that shocked Sarah completely. It was the face of the town's most trusted police officer. Suddenly, a voice whispered from behind her, "Now you will take this secret with you forever." At that moment, the lighthouse door locked itself. Sarah was trapped inside the darkness, and outside, the ocean waves became louder than ever before. To be continued, it was 12:20 a.m. Sarah Miller was still trapped inside the Black Tide Lighthouse. The heavy wooden door refused to open, no matter how hard she tried. The cold wind moved through the broken windows, and the sound of the ocean waves outside felt like something was calling her name. She looked around and realized she was not alone. The masked man who claimed to know the truth about Emily's murder was still inside the lighthouse. Sarah quickly grabbed her camera and started recording everything. She knew that if something happened to her, the footage would be the only proof left behind. The masked man slowly walked toward her and said, "You are exactly like Emily." She also thought she could expose the truth. Sarah stepped back and asked, "Why did you kill her?" The man remained silent for a few seconds, then replied, "Because she discovered what was happening inside this town." Suddenly, a loud noise came from the upper floor. Both of them looked toward the stairs. The spirit of Emily appeared again, standing in the darkness. Her eyes were fixed on the masked man. The killer became nervous and whispered, "You are supposed to be gone." Emily slowly pointed toward the old control room of the lighthouse. Sarah understood that there was another hidden secret. She ran toward the control room while the masked man tried to stop her. Inside the room, Sarah found old police files, hidden recordings, and a locked metal box. The box had Emily's name written on it. After opening it, Sarah discovered a diary that belonged to Emily. The final pages revealed the shocking truth. Emily had found evidence that the town's police department was covering up several murders. The person controlling everything was Officer Michael Hayes, the same respected police officer whose face appeared in the old video. Sarah realized that the masked man was not the only danger. Suddenly, the lighthouse radio turned on by itself. A deep voice came through the speaker. "Sarah, you have found too much. Now you will disappear like Emily." Sarah looked at the masked man and realized he was scared too. He said, "You don't understand. I was only protecting myself. Hayes is the real monster." Suddenly, the lighthouse lights started flashing rapidly. Outside, a black SUV stopped near the entrance. Officer Michael Hayes walked inside with two armed men. Sarah hid the diary and continued recording with her camera. Hayes looked around and smiled. "I knew someone would eventually discover Emily's evidence." Sarah stepped forward and said, "You murdered her." Hayes laughed and replied, "Emily was too curious. She wanted to expose people who controlled this town. She had to be stopped." The masked man suddenly attacked one of Hayes's men, creating a chance for Sarah to escape. A fight started inside the lighthouse. The old building shook as everyone struggled. Sarah ran toward the emergency exit, but Hayes followed her. He grabbed her arm and said, "You will never leave with that evidence." Suddenly, the spirit of Emily appeared between them. The temperature dropped, and the entire lighthouse went silent. Emily looked at Hayes with anger. The old windows started shaking and the lights went out. Hayes stepped back in fear because he finally understood that Emily's spirit was not trying to hurt Sarah. She was protecting her. Sarah escaped from Hayes and ran outside with the evidence. She immediately called the authorities and sent the video files to the news station. Within hours, the truth about Officer Hayes and the hidden crimes of Greyhaven spread across the country. Police arrived at the lighthouse and arrested Hayes. The investigation revealed years of hidden murders, missing people, and corruption. The Black Tide Lighthouse mystery was finally exposed. But before leaving, Sarah returned one last time to the lighthouse. She wanted to thank Emily for helping her. Standing inside the old building, Sarah placed Emily's diary on the table. Suddenly, the lights flickered, and Emily's spirit appeared one final time. She smiled peacefully as if she was finally free. A soft whisper filled the room. "Thank you for telling my story." Sarah smiled and walked away. Months later, she released a documentary about the Black Tide Lighthouse, and millions of people learned the truth. But on the final night after the documentary was released, Sarah received an unknown message on her phone. It contained only one sentence: "The lighthouse secret is finished, but another darkness is waiting." Sarah looked at the screen in fear. The sender's name was unknown. And attached to the message was a picture of another abandoned place. Sarah realized that the darkness she discovered at Black Tide Lighthouse was only the beginning. The end.